Hey guys, it's the Voodoo Queen Amarah from the UK. Just a quick shout out to let you know I'm doing an interview with O-Face Wrestling. Make sure you catch that. It's going to be lit. We talk about wrestling, games, conspiracy theories, and a whole bunch of stuff. It's going to be sick. Yeah, catch it. Don't miss it. See you there. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to O-Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I am joined by the Voodoo Queen Amarah. So thanks for joining us today, Amarah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So when I came across you on social media, I really fell in love with the character. Like with me, as a fan, I'm really big into wrestlers who have these dark persona, kind of creepy characters, stuff like that. And I really was really digging, the character that you portrayed. And then when I, looked you up on YouTube and saw your entrance, I was like, oh, this is so badass. Like I gotta have this girl on my show.
Thank
So I
you
finally have you,
very
so I'm
much.
so excited.
Thank you.
So, I have to ask first, just because I'm really excited to know. So, what inspired your character? The Voodoo Queen.
So basically, in my family, this is crazy, but basically they do actually practice voodoo, and I've actually been present in many rituals, like in Nigeria. So my parents are from. So one day I was just sitting down. I was like, God damn, man! I got my first match, and what do I do? And I just thought to myself, you know what? This is it. This is a great muta. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, this is how I'm going to take it. It just made sense. Having seen the rituals, knowing about voodoo, my cultural background in Nigeria, I was just like, this makes sense. And it just took off from there, really. And the response from it has been absolutely phenomenal, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So now I have to ask, because I personally don't do that stuff, or I've never witnessed that stuff. But you see it
Yeah.
on movies and shows all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Voodoo, witchcraft, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Is it does it really work?
Um, Now that's a tough one. I would say it does work, but then I don't know. I don't know. I would say it works. I would say it definitely 100% works, but it works in different ways. Like, you've watched the genie sort of like, I can't remember the movie, but there was like a 1980s movie about a genie. And after like the fourth witch, shit started going really bad. So it never really goes to plan, if that makes sense. Yeah,
Hmm.
let's put it this way. If I was to do a voodoo ritual now, it would have to be for something really, really good. Like, I don't know, maybe someone in my family is dying and I want them to live. Otherwise, I wouldn't touch it, just because there's so many negative connotations that you get from it. Honestly, it's really creepy stuff. Like, it's basically in line with like paganry and just anything that's a whole spiritual realm sort of thing.
Gotcha. I guess
Yeah.
maybe when you see the stories about the devil granting you a wish, and he grants you the wish, but then
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
bad happens in
Oh
return as well.
yeah,
Kind of.
yeah. Like, things like, everyone's heard that Kanye West has sold his soul, and like Beyonce and the Illuminati and stuff like that. There are some truths to it, but it's not as wacky as like what it's portrayed on. It's just you're dead. That's it, or you've
Yeah,
been run over or whatever.
yeah, because that's the thing is you never know with these movies how exaggerative or how
That's
accurate they really
right.
are. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen the movie The Skeleton Key, but
Mm,
basically it was these people, they practice voodoo, and what they would do is they would transfer their
mm,
soul into someone else's body, and it would switch. So basically when they would get
mm,
old, they
mm.
would transfer their body into someone who's younger and kind of
Sounds
live
like
on.
Get Out. Have you seen Get Out?
Yes,
Sounds like
that
that.
was a
Sounds
good
like
movie.
that.
So
Yeah.
it is like that. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if stuff like that's real, and that
Mm.
it's kind of, but yeah, just stuff like that. I've always been interested, because you really never know. Kind of like ghosts, you don't
Oh
know
yeah. You
unless you
just don't
actually
know.
witness it. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I'm probably going to take some time out to actually go to I don't know if you call them a ghost whisperer or a person that connects to the realms, because I want to speak to my dad. So I'll let you know how that goes.
I know what you're talking about. I forgot what
Yeah.
they're called too.
What are they called? Mediators, I think.
No,
Mediators?
it's not. I mean, maybe that's another name for it, but
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about though. I've always
Yeah, yeah,
been,
yeah.
or you could just get a Ouija board maybe, but that's also something that you don't really want to mess with, stuff like that. Especially you see the movie Ouija, that was a great movie, but went to talk to her friend, and it ended up being like a demon in the house that was there or something like that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. So yeah, it's not. I mean, even like here, there are documentaries of real life hauntings, things like Amityville haunting, which had a basis to it, Blair Witch, the Blair Witch Trials, which had some real basis to it. So I definitely believe that there's another plane of existence, through voodoo, spiritualism, wizardry, and stuff like that. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but once you've seen it with your own eyes and you've seen the damage it's done within the family, there's no going back.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems really interesting and cool. When I love
yeah,
watching like documentaries, about that kind of stuff on
yeah,
TV. But I'm really scared to just actually like witness it myself, unless it's like something like I really need to, like you mentioned, like if someone like if my
yeah.
wife was like dying or something like
Like a
that. That's
last resort. Yeah,
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 kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
something I would definitely do for fun.
Good. It's good to hear.
So now I want to kind of go a little back, because typically the first question I ask is what inspired you to become a professional wrestler, but I was really excited to learn about the character first. So now we can go back to, the original questions.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
When I was younger, my mum, before she started going into the dark arts and stuff, my mum, my brother, we used to watch like WWF. We used to watch Nitro Thunder after Cartoon Network. So I would see all of these wrestlers like Shawn Michaels or Sting or, you know, Harlem Heat, and I'd just be like, wow, these guys are amazing. The storytelling, and then the icing on the cake was China. When she started coming out with DX and when she had her solo run, wow, that was it. That was the inspiration there. And it was really strange. It was almost like fate, because I didn't actually realize you could train to do it. I thought you had to be sort of like, you know, yeah, I don't know, ballet dancers, they start from like 6, 7, like a really young age. And then I went to college, and I bumped into a girl that was wrestling, and she was like, let's do it. And I was like, what do you mean let's do it? You mean we can train? And then that's how it started, from like 15, 16, like bumping on mats and being thrown against walls, so how to bump in a corner post, things like that. I then started training in London, and then I went on and trained with the Knights later on. So yeah.
So, because that's like the funny thing too is because wrestling's different than like other sports, because it's not like you can, do actual like, the wrestling at like your high school or
Yeah,
college or stuff like that. It's a little bit different.
yeah,
When I was younger, watching WWF, I thought these were just random guys off the streets who just got signed in there. I didn't realize that it was all choreographed and fixed and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But going back to, you just mentioned that you were trained by the Knights. So tell me about that, because I've never talked to anyone that was trained by them.
No way. Well, I mean, it was an amazing experience for someone that, grew up in London and didn't realize that this world of wrestling was so accessible. It was absolutely a phenomenal experience. First of all, I'm going from London to Norwich. I didn't even know Norwich existed. So that was cool for me in the first place. It was hardcore. They take you back to the basics and they put you through it, because in the end of the day, our business, as you know, it's not as easy and as shiny as it looks like. It is a struggle. So that was where we did things like just like one-on-one grappling promos. That was actually where we were, sent into the wall to practice how to take the corner bar. I will never forget that, one of the painfulest days of my life. But it's phenomenal training with Soraya. I say Soraya, Paige, things like that. Yeah, I'm quite close to the family still, to be honest. But yeah, definitely, if you want to start from the basics and if you want to learn properly, that's the school to go to. But that's how I found my footing, got my courage. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like wrestling, it is, a lot of people who aren't a fan, look at it as, oh, fake. It's not
Yeah.
that, bad. But then when you don't really realize how painful it is. Like, and I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, like, when the first time I ever went to like a live event, you don't realize how loud it is when they smack on that mat, because you can't hear that, that well on TV with the
That's
crowd and
right.
everything like that, especially at, like an indie event. Like it's very painful. And
Yeah.
I have a friend who wrestles. Obviously because of COVID, she hadn't wrestled or trained for several months. So
For
her
several
first
months.
time back
Mhm.
training after so long, she could barely walk.
Oh
Like,
yeah, ring rust. Oof.
yeah, she's like, I took a little bit too many bumps, but yeah, that's how it is. Like, it's really really tough,
Yeah, yeah,
and so you trained with Soraya Page. That I think that's
yeah,
really cool. Like, and
yeah, yeah,
a fun fact about her, like, she is the reason why I became like really hardcore into women's wrestling, because
wow,
obviously when
yeah,
I grew up in the 90s, women's wrestling was more of, bra and panty
mm,
matches and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
You didn't really see actual in-ring competitor kind of stuff.
mm, mm.
And not really until like Trish and Lita, but by that time I had fallen out of it, got in
Yeah,
high school.
of
So
course.
when I got back into it in 2010, that was the Divas era, which
You
wasn't the best
see,
era for, the wrestling. So
yeah,
when
yeah,
I had heard about Paige, because I get online and read rumors and all. I would always, people would be like, Paige this, Paige that. I'm like, let me
yeah,
check
yeah,
this girl out. So I looked her up on YouTube and I'm like, holy smokes, like, she's kicking ass. Like, you
yeah,
did not see
yeah,
that
yeah,
at the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
this girl is different. And she looked different, wearing all
yeah,
black and had the goth
yeah,
kind of look.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like, this is amazing. And
yeah, yeah,
I feel like she doesn't get enough credit for the women's evolution. A lot of people give it to the Four Horsemen, which they definitely deserve a big role in that era. But Paige and
yeah,
AJ Lee, they were doing it first, and they kind of
yeah,
kick-started
yeah.
everything.
And you know what? Even before them, roughly around about the same time, you got to remember the knockouts from TNA. The things they were doing were incredible. But the trouble is with history is it's so much history that they never span out all of it. They focus on the key parts. And I think, to be honest with you, a lot of Paige fans do understand that she is one of the catalysts. And I'm glad that definitely people still remember her as, one of the people that started this revolution that we're experiencing. So
Yeah, because one of like the big issues with that is a lot of my friends that like wrestling, they didn't get into it until around 2015 because of the whole Four Horsewomen hype. So they
yeah,
weren't there to actually witness what like Paige and AJ were doing.
yeah, yeah,
So it's kind of like if you weren't experiencing it, you won't fully know and have
yeah,
the
it's true.
appreciation.
Yeah, yeah, it is true.
So now the next thing I wanted to bring up. So I know you recently just started streaming on Twitch. Is
Yeah.
that correct? So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about some of the games you like to play.
So I am a huge GTA fan. I've played pretty much all of them, bar maybe the first one because I can't get the copy of it. I am a big open world FPG gamer. I absolutely love it. I've played Fallout 4, 3, Outer Worlds. I've started Cyberpunk, but that's quite hard. Might have to turn the difficulty down and give that for the first playthrough. But then I also like arcade games, like growing up, things like Spyro, Medieval, Sonic the Hedgehog, even right down to Nintendo 64, when I used to play like James Bond and stuff like that. Always been a huge gamer. I'm a PlayStation baby, by the way. So I don't really like the Xbox series. Ooh. But yeah, I have to be careful who I say that to because I've been disowned. Some of my friends have been like, what? And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I only like PlayStation. And the next day I tried to connect with them and they go, so, but yeah, no, yeah, I've always been into gaming, but like I never found the platform to just sit and just play. And it's funny how when you get on Twitch, you feel like, right, I need to concentrate, I'm being watched, and your skill kind of builds. I've streamed like maybe 3 times now. So yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, because like I started where I was streaming on Twitch
Mm.
about like a year and a half ago, and I did it for a little
Yeah,
bit, but kind of like you mentioned, like you're being watched, you really have to
yeah,
focus, and I'm not good at doing that, so I kind of gave
yeah,
up after doing it for a few months. But
yeah, yeah,
it's funny you brought up Fallout 4. I bought like the Pit Boy edition, which I think was like $200 or something like
Oh, it
that.
comes with the Pit Boy, doesn't it? If I
Yes, it
remember,
comes with
yeah,
the
yeah,
Pit
yeah,
Boy, and
yeah.
I barely played the game. I mainly got it because I really wanted the Pit Boy.
No, oh well, fair enough. To be fair, it's quite cool. Is it functional? Can you at least turn on the screen?
So it's not an actual screen. So basically, there's an app you could download on your phone, and then you put your
Oh,
phone in the Pit Boy, and then use it
oh,
like that, which is pretty cool.
oh.
I never did that yet, but
Yeah,
I'm guilty of buying games and then not really playing them, or getting taking a while to get to them, and that's one of the games I eventually want to get to because I'm gonna hold
Yeah.
off on the PS5 for now, so I might as well
Oh
start
yeah,
playing some of my PS4
yeah,
games and
yeah,
catch up on that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know like exactly like when you mentioned the N64, like I grew up with the NES.
Oh
It
yeah,
had come out years before I was born, but my parents had already had that. But that was the system I started with
yeah, yeah,
in the early '90s, and then of course Sega. But I am a PlayStation person as well. I do have all the Xbox systems.
yeah,
I like the 360. I played a lot of, because they did have a lot of good games, but the Xbox One just really they did not have a lot of good exclusives.
no,
And the
no.
PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 3 and 4 combined, with the Last of Us, Uncharted games.
Oh
I like a
yeah,
lot of action games, by the
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah,
and I love horror games.
yeah. What was the horror game that I tried to play, but it was too scary? Evil Within.
Oh, I love Evil Within.
It's really scary.
It's a lot scarier than I thought because
Yeah,
I feel like for a while there just weren't really many scary games. Like, the Resident Evil
yeah,
series kind of branched off to more of a action game versus, survival
yeah.
horror. But Evil Within was really scary. Alien Isolation.
Oh, horrible. That was another one like I couldn't finish because it was just too scary. Like I literally felt like the xenomorphs were on me with their acid blood. Oh no,
I
no.
could only play that game like 2 hours at a time because it
Mhm.
just my anxiety because you
Oh,
never knew when the alien was gonna pop up.
and
And
in
then
the daytime always, and I always used to remember like I do something wrong, and it was the suspense. You'd wait, you'd be like, oh my god, has he caught me? You go to play again, and then all of a sudden the tail just comes and wraps around you like ah! It's just honestly.
I like to play games like that with the headset on and everything too, just so it feels
Yeah,
more real. And I've been actually wanting to reinstall that game on my PlayStation and play, but I
yeah,
just don't get around to it. But I just
yeah,
I usually don't like games like that are like more slow paced and stuff like
yeah,
that. But I
yeah,
really was digging that game because
yeah,
it just felt so real and scary, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that feeling.
Yeah, well, the Alien franchise is awesome. Anyway, I'd literally any game they make, I'd play but I might not finish it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought one of the games for actually the original Xbox. I think it was like Alien versus Predators, but I didn't realize it was one of those games where you control like all the aliens from like the ceiling and you kind of tell them where to
Yeah,
go. And I didn't
yeah,
realize it was one of those games when I first got it, and I was so mad because I did not like that. I was like, I just wasted money on this.
yeah, yeah. But it's a good collector's item, you know. When the kids come along, you could be like, "Yo, this is what games used to be like."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever got into any of the Resident Evil games at all?
I haven't, but what with Twitch, I'm going to be exploring all avenues. Definitely going to go back to the horror. I'm going to have to find my balls and try not to be so scared. But I do remember I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, the Resident Evil playthrough that was on the PS1, 4, sorry. And do you remember with that guy from Walking Dead? What was it
Um,
called? Was it called? Oh, it was
you
going to be the
you
new
talking about
Resident.
PT? That was
Yes.
Silent Hill.
Oh, was that Silent
That was
Hill?
Silent Hill, yeah.
Oh,
But no,
yeah.
that I'm mad that I deleted that off my PlayStation because
Oh,
obviously you can't get it anymore. That
I can't
that
get
looked
it.
like it was gonna be a really badass
I
game.
know. And we're playing like Death Stranding at the moment. It's not the same. It's not the same. Like,
I wanted to get that and I still want to
mm.
get it, but I heard a lot of bad things about it when it first came out.
At the moment, without ruining it for you, it's very cinematic. Loads and loads of cinema scenes. It's like I'd
Yeah.
rather just watch the movie. It's either you play the game or watch it. But there's so many cutscenes, and we haven't even got halfway through the game yet. That's my
Hmm.
only bad thing about it, to be
I think I
honest.
remember hearing that. Yeah, I'm
Mm,
fine with games like that. Like, I don't know
yeah,
if you
yeah,
played some of those like really heavy story-based games like Until Dawn, Heavy Rain,
yeah,
where
yeah.
you
Oh,
mainly just
Heavy
control
Rain.
their decisions and stuff like that. Like, I love games like that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Heavy Rain. Did you ever play LA Noire?
LA Noire, yes, I had that for the
Gorgeous.
PS3. That was a really good game. They had remastered version for the PS4, but I never got around to getting that. But that was a really fun
Oh,
game.
I
The
didn't know they
cool
did that. Oh.
Yeah, the cool thing about it is how realistic their lips look when they talk. Like that was the big
Yeah.
thing about the game. Like it looked like it was like a movie.
Yeah, a phenomenal game. I'm sad that the company that made it closed down, to be honest with you, but it is what
Oh,
it is. Business is rough, especially in the gaming industry.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, last like video game question, we'll go back to wrestling. So, do you have
Yeah.
like a schedule for your Twitch, or is it just kind of like random right now?
Yeah, so I've got some main shows that I do. So there's one that is on Sunday, and then there's another one on Tuesday. The Tuesday is going to be mainly for classics, but Sundays is going to be like your open worlds. At the moment, I'm doing Mad Max, and then when I get the hang of it and making good videos and stuff, I do want to have like a chat thing, like for people that want to just talk
Okay.
shit.
Yeah, I definitely want to jump into one of them. I know there's a big time difference between
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and I, so I don't,
Oh
because I'm on
yeah.
Sundays and Tuesdays, you said?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I work those days, so I don't know if I'm at work when you but I do follow you and I do get the notifications. I just don't
Yeah, yeah.
remember, but I'm definitely gonna, if anything, I'm sure I can rewatch it and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
stuff
It's
like
all up
that.
there to rewatch it. Yeah. So yeah, come in, jump in. Why not? If you do decide to retweet, maybe we retwitch, maybe we can like do a collab or something. I'll be down for that.
Oh hell yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now we talked about video games. Now we can go back to wrestling. So,
Yeah.
what is the most intense match stipulation that you've ever done? And then what's the most intense one that you want to do that you haven't done? Like, like a tables match,
Yeah,
cage
yeah,
match, stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I think the most intense one I've done was a death match with my husband. That wow, that
Against
was
him or teaming up with him?
against him.
Oh, that must have been
Against
fun.
him. Oh my God. Do you know what?
Is
It
that
was
match on
fun.
YouTube?
No, but I can send you the link. I
Okay,
mean,
I want to watch that.
I have never got so much color in my life. I couldn't
I've never
believe it.
seen a female in a death match, so I think that's really cool. And I want
There's
to check
loads of
that.
them out there. There's like
Really?
Hustle. Jules Malone does a few as well. I'd recommend it. Have a look. But that stipulation, it was difficult because I understood it was a work and it's a wrestling match, but he'd hit me a few times. And I didn't know if he was legitimately hitting me, so I'd hit him back. And then backstage, he'd be like, you potatoed me, and I'm like, what? You potatoed me. No, it was a hard stipulation just because you don't fans don't really always understand how to um sort of appreciate that kind of a match because it is brutal. It literally looks like this man is beating this woman up, and it's not until the woman wins that it's like, oh great, it's fine, it's a work. But I was looking around as I was wrestling. We did the thumbtacks, trash can, and they were looking like they wanted to step in to help me. So it was just difficult because people didn't know how to interpret, what was happening. But I think the next stipulation I would really like to do is probably like a match with, I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Big, Big fucking Joe or Big effing Joe in the deathmatch scene.
I have not heard of him, but I'm gonna
I
look him up
would
now. It's an interesting name.
love to do a death match with him. Absolutely insane. That's probably like I've actually known him for years. I've known him for a good 10 years now. But yeah, he's one of the biggest deathmatch guys going, like I'd say, in the world at the minute. And I'd love to work with him. I might not make it out alive, but that could be my legacy. Light tubes, thumbtacks, hedge trimmers, and loads of Lambrini, which is like a drink over here. So yeah.
See, I love matches like that with thumbtacks and fire and barbed
Yeah,
wire and all
yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't see that stuff very often in like the mainstream world, WWE and
No,
all that kind of stuff, but
no,
it's so
no,
intense
yeah.
and it's really fun. I understand why you don't
Oh,
see it too often because if you did it regularly, I'm sure your body wouldn't be very happy about it, but
yeah.
yeah, and then like I mentioned, like I've never seen like a female in that kind of match. I'm really excited to kind of like dig into that kind of territory and all.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, we women, we're badass bitches, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes even worse than the men, like, you know. But in the States, there are quite a few female deathmatch workers. Here, not so much, and I've only dipped my toe into it. But definitely, when Corona gets its ass beat, I'll definitely be up for doing a lot more death matches. But it is sort of getting scarred and getting beaten. It's a lot more brutal, you know. And also, like, when you use light tubes, the gases that you expose to your lungs and stuff, honestly, there's so many things to think about. But for me, because I've watched it and I enjoy it, it's like sort of taking the wrestling to another level, in a sense, a completely new sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but you know, it's not just performance art. You are really putting your body on the line this time, and it's, yeah, it's a fun aspect of wrestling. I'm sad that it doesn't get as much respect as it should do, but I can understand why it doesn't at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if they were death matches or not, but I'd seen these videos on Facebook. One, like, this guy has some kind of saw, and he was like sawing the guy's head, like it was an electric power saw, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's intense. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
really you have some balls for something, a match like that. And then there was like, it was in Japan, but there was like a big like
Yeah.
fish tank with piranha in it. And the guy threw the other guy
Yeah.
in it and put like a board over top of it so he couldn't get out. And you could see like the
So he couldn't
piranhas
get
biting
out.
him and blood coming. I was like, oh my goodness, like these guys are
Wow.
crazy.
Oh my God, Japan there. Oh my God, I love their wrestling. But there was one thing that like I made me sick when I saw it, which was they had like a metal, not metal, wood plank. They had scissors upright like this. I think maybe 20 scissors. The guy took a bump on it, back bump. And I was just like, oh God. Imagine like all your vital organs that like on your back as well.
Hmm.
Hardcore, hardcore.
Exactly.
Not for
Like I
me.
said, you need some balls for something like that, and hopefully some good
Oh
health
my God.
insurance as well.
Yes, exactly.
Because you definitely go into the hospital after something like that.
Oh, going to the hospital, maybe the grave. Oh, honestly,
That's
that's
it,
like
yeah.
there was a spot on a show that I was gonna do where not me personally, but the guys were like, oh, let's cut these cans of beer open, empty them out, and have them sitting upright. And I just looked at them like, you're literally making a large cheese grater, and if you land on that, that's literally gonna just easily work its way. Oh, honestly, I don't think people think when they do things like that, but they
No.
didn't do it in the end. But that's insane.
Have you come across this one guy on YouTube? He's a big wrestling fan. He's a big Mick Foley fan. And, like, he does
Yeah.
these stunts where he jumps off of something into like a
Oh
table.
yeah,
The whoop whoop guy.
yeah, the whoop whoop guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, I'm
Oh
like, I'm
my,
waiting for like, I don't want it to happen. I feel like one day this man is gonna go to the
oh
hospital.
my,
Like this,
he jumped on a microwave once. A microwave. He's done. What has he done? Trees. He's done barbed wire. What else have I seen? He's done
light
loads.
tubes.
Light tubes, and I think Game Changer Wrestling had him on a show. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember he was at a wrestling event or two.
yeah,
He did
yeah.
like the Stone Cold Stunner on one of the wrestlers. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that must have been a dream come true for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get into the ring and just do any, or I would take a finisher, just like just be in the
Really?
ring. Yeah, I tell people all the time if Randy Orton can RKO me because that's my one of my
Mm,
favorite finisher moves,
yeah,
just get taken an RKO, that'd be awesome.
yeah, yeah. Never say never, man. Never say never. Keep going with the page, like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
never know what can happen.
yeah, yeah,
Opportunities come.
yeah. They do.
So, my last question for you. So now we are in 2021. So I'm sure you have tons of wrestling goals. So did you want to share some, with us?
Yeah, so 2020, I'd love to transition from the Voodoo Queen Amarah to this special gimmick that I've got planned successfully. This year, I would really like to work for Pro Wrestling Eve on more of a full-time basis. So that's always been one of my dreams. I'm actually looking to drop a few kilo. I want to sort of be in the best shape of my life this year. And I'd like to get more work in the States, to be honest with you. Trumpism aside, it's a pretty awesome country. And I just kind of want to make my imprint on that, even if it's not AEW or WWE or TNA Impact, just in some form. I want to get myself out there, and then Japan can come after. Probably 2022 or 2023 for that one, but definitely my main goal is to get to the States. I want to see you guys. I want to work with some of the female talents out there. Yeah.
Is there any particular names that you really want to work with that are in the States?
I'd really love to work with Natalia.
Natalia.
Oh my God, that would be a dream come true to work with Natalia. Or perhaps maybe what's her name? Is it Brooke Hogan? Not Brooke Hogan. She doesn't wrestle.
Kira Hogan?
She doesn't wrestle. What's her name, sorry?
Kira Hogan?
That's it. Kira Hogan. She'd be one I'd like to work with. So, but we'll see. Like, I mean, it's really strange, but I just go about my day-to-day life and wrestling life, and just these opportunities just come. So, you know, I'm a true believer of, you know, what you attract, you get. So I feel like something's definitely brewing for 2021. Just got to keep working hard and yeah, get in shape, but or better shape.
Yeah, I feel like 2021 is going to be a good year for wrestling too, you know,
Yeah.
especially once when all these vaccinations, you know, shots get out there, we can start getting
Yeah.
things back to normal. Because I know,
Yeah.
like, the first half of, like, 2020, there really wasn't a lot of wrestling
Oh, yeah.
with everything shutting down, you know, then things started to pick up. Things are dying down again now.
I
'Cause a lot of
know.
promotions were doing outdoor events, and, you know, with it being winter now, you can't really do that unless you're, like, in
Yeah.
a warm area like Texas or Florida or something like
That's
that.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm unfortunately in an area that's cold, so there's nothing. And
Oh,
here in
wow.
Maryland, they're really, really strict too. So there hasn't literally MCW, which is the closest event. They haven't had anything since March.
Oof.
So it's
Gosh,
been a
almost a
minute.
year now, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly. So we've been traveling to New Jersey a lot and going to their
Yeah.
events, but I don't want to have
Yeah.
to travel 3 hours to see wrestling all the time, you know.
Yeah, this is it. It's tough going, like, you know, on the car, on you, it's, and especially now, like, where you can now just sit at home and just watch it. But obviously, the time will come where everything will be back to normal because I noticed, like, watching the Thunderdome with WWE, it's not the same. It's not the same. You can have the screen there, but there's, I know that the fans aren't really there. And, I know that they are having to react to screens. It's just not the same.
It's neat and it's cool, but like you
Oh
said,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the same. I like that
yeah,
they finally put some kind of crowd noise in the
yeah,
background, so
yeah.
they're not wrestling in like just silence. But
Just silence.
the crazy thing is, once when things do get back to normal, we actually do have like a full crowd. It's gonna feel weird, like actually having fans in the
That's
stand. You know what I
right.
mean? It's gonna be
Yeah,
such a mind-boggling experience.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
oh my God, there's fans out there. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to be great for all of us, like workers, just to be able to interact with fans. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do to the first person I can hug. Do you know what I mean? Or the first person I can insult in the crowd. But it's just going to be almost like starting again. So, yeah.
Exactly, and just hopefully we can get to that point soon. Me personally, I'm predicting like spring, winter. I
You
think things are
think?
going to go a little slow. Yeah, I think the
Mm,
biggest issue right now is like I said that they're going really slow with giving out the shots and stuff
yeah.
like that. And then I think once when we start getting momentum with that, things will start picking up. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
hopeful.
springtime's like 3 months away, so it's not the worst thing in the
Yeah,
world too. At the same time, so I mean, we'll have to see.
yeah, exactly.
Just hopefully these vaccination shots don't turn people into the I am legend
Don't,
zombie thingies or whatever they're called.
don't,
That's the
don't.
only thing, because
Can you imagine? Because this is just, it's so weird, that this is happening and now, I mean, yes, fine, we've had other pandemics and other viruses, but this is just so out there and so different. And so fingers crossed it doesn't go from bad to worse.
exactly, because once when we hit 2021, everything was supposed to be in the past. We were supposed to move forward, and
Yeah.
just it's already a ugly beginning. So
Yeah, I know. And January is my birthday. But January is turning into one of those months where it's like cancelled. Forget it. It's always going to be bad. Like, So yeah.
Well, hopefully you still have a good birthday this month. So
Yeah, I have a habit of making things happen. So even if I just got to go around running around naked in the streets by myself with some balloons and a cake, I will do it. I will get arrested for that. I don't even care. As long as I'm wearing a mask, right?
exactly. No one will know it's you.
No, no.
Well, so Amara, I had so much fun interviewing you here on O Face Wrestling, so I have to thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. You can have me back whenever you want. Honestly, it's been brilliant. It's nice to talk to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely down for a part two. We'll definitely
Yeah.
think of something to talk about for that.
Yeah, yeah, by all means.
So, is there any? Do you want to let all the listeners know where they can find you on social media, and if you have any merch for sale or anything like that you want to share with them?
Yes, guys. So if you want to head to Twitter, I'm on there as the Voodoo Amarah, the Voodoo Queen. Facebook, I'm on there as again the Voodoo Queen Amarah. And then on my Instagram, same again, Voodoo Queen Amarah. You'll find me anyway. I'm also on YouTube, and if you want to hit my Twitch up, King Queen Kemi, that's where you can find me. So yeah. Get on there. I want to see all of you guys.
And I'll make sure I put all those links in the bio below.
Thank
And
you
also
so
make sure you give
much.
us a sub on YouTube. Follow
Oh
us on
yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah, yeah.
Instagram. Just search O Face Wrestling, and bam, we'll pop up.
Definitely.
And thank you all again for tuning in, and thank you so much, Amar, for joining us today on O Face
Thank
Wrestling.
you for having me. Mwah.